Bonjour! At the end of the last video, I put together Rammy Boy here. Let's think of naming him Alfred. Even though the book says Harry, he looks more like an Alfred. Yeah. But even though I would typically consider this done, the book has clothing for him because apparently it doesn't want the ram to go naked out into the world. So we're going to start that today, which means we get to use the blue yarn. Finally! Not brown, but blue. I mean, there's a reason I dye my hair blue instead of just leaving it the brown, you know. I mean, my brown hair did look nice, but I feel more like myself with blue hair. But you're going to have to wait for your clothes, all right? I may have to redo Alfred's head a little bit. It's a little bit too loose for my liking. But stay there, Alfred. Okay. So there are like 3 different sets of clothes that are made. So there's like a pullover sweater, there's the shorts, and then there's these shoes. And I don't know if I have enough blue yarn for it all. I hope I do. But if I don't, well, I still got plenty of this brown yarn. So, and I'm just going to use the same size needles and hope that they work. Also, you may see me wearing these wrist braces throughout the video today. My wrists are really hurting me, but I feel like knitting. So, this is my compromise here. So it has the Pulmarin. The needles are not the same size. Too bad! They're going to be the same size. Okay. And we have the short cargo. There are little instructions on the top of both. And Gambit Gauche, I don't know if that's the shoes or not. Oh no, polishes are probably the shoes. Well, we'll save the polishes for last. Let's see. Pulmarin. Il est tricoté de haut en bas sans couture avec des manches raglan. So something about like the raglan stitch. It's in rangs, it's in rows. Wait. Are these circular needles? Oh, I'm going to need circular needles at some point, aren't I? Or at least like the double pointed. Yeah, I was just working on like straight needles. But the way these are, does it have like a material section? Let's see. Oh no, I thought we determined rangs was rows, not just rounds. Oh, okay. No. I still use these ones. Circular needles are une aiguille circulaire. These are aiguilles droites. These are the straight ones. And this is telling me to do it with the droites. So I'm still good. Okay. All right. I mean, my instinct is to start with the pants because the pants look simpler than the jumper. And it'll give me a sense of getting used to what's going on. So this is from that, so it's probably in here, I'm guessing. Oh. There we go. Just pulled its guts out. Look at this, like, rich blue. Oh my gosh. It's like so messy. This is why I usually wind it into a ball, but I haven't been winding them into a ball because of my wrist recently. There is a time in my life where, like, when I originally got these, it was a time in my life where I tried to use knitting as a replacement for therapy. And while knitting is an important coping mechanism for me, I learned then that it is not a replacement for therapy or antidepressants. That being said, I think one of the biggest accomplishments of 2022 is trying out a new medicine that has severely lowered the depressive episodes. I feel like I've been a lot more present this year than I've been in years past. I'm supposed to put on 52. I would guess I'm somewhere in like the teens at the moment. This is where I'm just like casting on. I was like, yeah, we're going to get to 52 eventually. I'm guessing it's going to have me sew a seam. I would assume with the pants are going to have me sew a seam. I mean, I see there are buttons. There are plenty of buttons, which means this isn't going to a little kid. And I haven't picked out the buttons yet, but I know I can just easily raid Mom's button drawer to do so. We just have an understanding at this point where if I just need a button for the project, I just go to Mom's button drawer. She usually has something. I did buy buttons for another project that are just like sitting over there, although they'll be too big. And I never ended up using them for that project. It was the Good Place shirt. I thought I was going to need buttons for that, but then I ended up not using them. Should probably count. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 28, 29, 30. So I got 22 left to go. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40, 1, 2, 3. It's like getting stuck in the yarn. There we go. The needle itself. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50, then 1, 2. So that should be 52. So I'm going to double check in case I dropped or added a stitch I wasn't supposed to. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 52. There we go. So the first row is the wrong side. Just wants me to knit. Oh. Maybe the J's the yarn over. Because it says effect boutonniere. It looks like my guess would be I'm starting from the top down. Alright. So we'll just knit and we'll see how it goes. It's amazing, like when I no longer had to wear uniforms for work. Because usually, like, if you wear a uniform for work, you spend a lot of time wearing that uniform. And it can affect how you see yourself. Like, when I was younger, I drew many photos of myself in pictures of myself in my school uniform because I spent a lot of time in my school uniform. Even when I got home, there's no point in changing to another outfit. And, like, I often had jobs that required uniforms or, like, fancier clothes. So when I started working at the job I am now, and they had an incredibly lax dress code, like literally the only requirements were all the private parts were covered and nothing was too loose so it didn't get caught in the conveyor belts. It was interesting to see, like, all right, let's make my wardrobe into something I'm a little bit happier about. And it was interesting to see what colors made it in there. And over time, I realized, like, there's a lot of blues and greens and purples in my wardrobe now. Like, and I've been phasing out, like, there's practically no brown. I've been phasing out a lot of the black. White shirts just don't tend to last very long because eventually they get a stain on them, and in order to keep on wearing them, I tie-dye them, which is why I have a lot of tie-dye shirts. At my last job, I used to have to wear these polo shirts with that were the strange material, and like in order to keep them in good shape, because we couldn't keep the polo shirts. Well, most of them. I could keep the one I had as a tour guide, but not the one I had as event staff. I wore undershirts underneath, so I had like loads of white undershirts, although I ended up getting some black undershirts when I started working a Pacific role that required it. Because with the job I had before this one, like anything the job didn't provide had to be black. which was understandable. They had, like, I was in a 900-person department, and black looks good on everybody. But it didn't make me happy. So we're going to knit again. But it's been interesting, like, when I was with this job and I like finally like dyed my hair blue like I wanted to, and then I saw just how much it matched with the outfits I already had, because I was already working on like wearing blues and purples and greens. It's also been fun, like, because the requirements are like no loose clothing. I've been experimenting with wearing clothing I would have never worn when I went to school. And no one says anything, or if they say anything, it's like positive mostly. It's been nice. Like, in general, there are 3 things that clothing should fulfill. So 1, your clothing should work with the situations that you find yourself in from day to day. So if a piece of clothing simply isn't practical for what you're doing for most of day to day, then there's not really much of a point in having it. 2, the clothing should make you feel comfortable. Like, you shouldn't have to worry about, oh my gosh, this body part should be covered, but it's going to fall out. And 3, it should make you feel good, right? So row 3, effect boutonniere. So it looks like I just knit up until the last 3 stitches. This is jusqu'à du bord again. Decrease and then the J. So maybe jeté was yarn over. That would make sense, because with avec boutonniere à la end, yeah, it wants me to make a buttonhole, it looks like. So it has me decrease, and then I'm guessing it's having a yarn over, so that way we have space for the button. Would make sense. Okay. Well, yeah, one thing I ended up finding out was clothing that made me feel like something that's made me feel like sexy and comfortable at the same time have been tank tops, because like everything is covered that needs to be covered, but I get to show off my arms. I really love showing off my arms. It's like I see myself in a tank top and I look good. And nothing's restraining about that either, because like you have to move your arms all around. It's like, yeah, that's like I do a lot of lifting things with my arms. It shows off the arm muscles. And if I feel like writing on my arms, I can look at it. Oh, I think they're about to have me do short rows soon. Okay. So I do it till the last 3 stitches, yeah? So, I decrease the 2, and then if it wants me to do a button, then I probably just do a yarn over. Oop. There. And that'll be enough of a buttonhole. Which means when I was doing that other instruction, I think for the head, no, was it for the head? For the horns, oh. The horns probably wanted me to do a yarn over. Too late for that. Alfred's horns are on his head. So it just wants me to do like 2 more rows, the same, and then wants me to continue the needle. So I'm going to come back when the instructions are a little bit more different. All right. So now I've got what I believe to be the waistband of the pants, because now it wants me to increase like mad. We're going to go from 52 stitches to 80 stitches, guys. And it has a particular what's it called? Has a particular increase. So let's look it up. Can I even tell the difference? Orientations, torsion joint. Looks like I'm increasing in the same stitch. We're going to make assumptions here. Ha ha ha. Oh, and that's... Okay. So I'm assuming this is the type of increase that happens inside the same stitch, like I've been pulling from below. I don't think I'm doing that this time. I think I'm working in the actual stitch itself. Well, we'll find out. So it wants me to do 1 knit, the 1 increase 11 times. So this is 1, 2, then 3, then 4, five, 6. Wait, I am remembering to do that stitch. Yeah, okay. 7, 8. Oh, yarn everywhere. Okay. I lost track. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this is number 8 right here. Nine, 10. Then this is 11. And then it wants me to just do 3 straight increases. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then just 1 stitch. Then 4 more increases. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it's that like same like 1 stitch, 1 increase, but 10 times, because the 4 already took care of what would have been 11. So we've already passed the symmetry point again. And then it's followed by a bunch of instructions that just don't make sense. Okay. We'll live, though. We'll live. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then it's telling me just 2 knit stitches, and I've got 2 stitches left. So I did the math right. That's good. All right. So now it literally just wants me, row 7, we did 80 stitches on here. It only wants me to do 10. Right? Like, why? I guess to provide... Well, oh, I can see it's kind of like going over the belly. I guess this is like the short row bit. So I do 2 knit, 8 purl, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I got 10 on the stitch. Yeah, and now it just wants me to turn, and that is the row. And then it looks like I do a yarn over, maybe, or I'm just going to add the stitch because that still worked. So it wants me to knit to the end. I can already tell from the instructions they're creating like a little ridge on the button points, which is nice. Creates kind of like that little flap that you get with pants. Like if you have like buttons, like the button area is different than the actual pants, or like the fly of the pants too. It's like you could tell the fly of the pants is different from the actual pants. So now we do 2 knit, 8, purl 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then it wants me to decrease. And then 2 more purl. And then turn. Now it's 1 yarn over again. Then just knit to the end for row 10. Okay, so it's having me do a bunch of short rows right now. That's what it looks like. I'm going to come back when I made a little bit more progress on this and we can actually see what the effect of the short rows has been. Here's the pants so far. They had me do short rows on both sides, and they had me add like some buttonholes. So my assumption that I'm working on the top is definitely proving true. But now I'm guessing it wants me to cover the tummy without adding too many extra stitches over the whole entire thing. So now I've hit the point of the pattern where it wants me to continue on a set of circular needles. So I went and found what I hope is like the same size circular needles, like with Wise as these needles that I've been working on. This says it's a number 4, so we'll see. They're 2 different brands, so I don't know if knitting needles is like women's clothing in that regard. But there is it wants me to like I don't entirely understand. It wants me to work, I think it wants me to like slide 2 stitches. It was like deniers are. It wants me to remove 2 stitches before it goes into the round. But I don't understand how. Without working them. But if I were to guess, my guess would be you would get rid of the stitches around the area of the fly. That would be the easiest way to get rid of them. So I'm just going to improvise here. So that way I at least have the correct amount of stitches on the needles, because later on, like their pants are going to have me split them into the individual legs. Also, my yarn spilled its guts. This is not as bad as it was, but it reminds me of why I typically roll them into a ball. And then I didn't do that. So I think because when this goes into the round, the fly is going to disappear. So we're just going to do that, and then I'm just going to knit them all on. like this. This is like, actually working a row is the easiest way to move from one set of needles to the other, because you're creating a loop that like goes to the needle. Like, trying to have to take all this off and then rethread all the needles, you could easily drop a stitch, and that's a nightmare. At least this one, you work all the stitches and you know they're all on the needle, which is pretty nice. So I know at this point I'm not following the instructions exactly, but I'm improvising and hoping the improvisation works. Which, I mean, it has so far. The only thing is, like, I've gotten these little bumps that I don't think are supposed to be there, but meh. I mean, Alfred's going to be wearing a sweater over that. I don't think it's going to be too noticeable. And this is where we go from the rang to the tor. Like, all the R's in front have been replaced with T's. And this is where I knit the two of them together. There we go. So now, if I'm going to work them in rounds, the best thing to do is to get a stitch marker. Ow! Don't poke me like that, stitch marker. Okay. Because otherwise, I will get lost and I will lose my place. I know what I'm like. Oh, did I do the clicky click? I did do the clicky click. There's like things like work and run. There's a sentence I don't really understand, but I can kind of guess it means work in the round, especially since the R changed to a T. So I now see a whole thing that I don't understand, but the individual words, but I get the general gist of it. So this is how you attach something in the round like this. And from now on, I'm just straight up knitting, and with the exception of the rows where they have me increase. Working with round needles is usually better when I'm traveling because you're less likely to lose one of the needles. If you lose a knitting needle, you can't work. With a set of round needles, they're attached. Well, I was just guessing at the length of this, and this ends up being the perfect length. I just got like the shortest cord that I had. I'll be back in a little bit. I'm still knitting in the round, but I realized what those instructions I didn't understand were probably telling me. So it didn't tell me to work those two stitches, so it was probably telling me to not work those two stitches in the pants. So that way they could overlap each other instead of having it how I have it right now where they're side by side. Not that it's going to be a big deal. I mean, I can still lie them over top, but like lots of flies on like jeans and other pants, the top of the fly overlaps the bottom part of the fly, so that way the zipper lies flat and it's hidden. And that's probably what they were trying to explain to me here. But at this point, I'm not going to take it apart to fix it. Alfred's just going to have to put up with it the way it is. Here are the pants so far. And I've hit the point in the pattern where they want me to split it into the legs. So, I mean, it's turned out pretty nice. I don't think I did the increase they wanted me to do. But it is what it is, huh? Also, I realized as I was doing this from the instructions that this back part right here isn't in the front, it's actually in the back. Which makes me think, am I dressing a toddler? Is the ram not allowed to take their own clothes off? Because, like, I have stories of, like, when I was 2 years old, and apparently I was a little nudist who kept trying to take her clothes off, and they had to put, like, the buttons on the back so I couldn't get the dress over my head. Which, as I gotten older, relatives tried to repeat that story to me in an effort to embarrass me, but it doesn't really work because I don't know her. 2-year-old me is a completely different person than who I am today. I can't vouch for whatever 2-year-old me is. Like, toddlers are essentially little drunk adults that never stop being drunk until they develop more motor functions, pretty much. So what it wants me to do now is it wants me to separate the legs. So it's been having me increase stitches. So I've got close to 100 on here by now. So I do 47. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40, then just 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, and it ended right where I believe the middle to be. So now I think it just wants me to take the other 47 stitches off the needle without working it. So I've threaded some yarn here, and we're just going to put all these stitches on the yarn to hold the stitches so I can pick them back up later. Because you ever try to work 2 legs at once? That's how you get a skirt. And we're not using a skirt here. We're not making a skirt here. I can't remember the last time I wore a skirt. It's been a while. I still have some, but it doesn't really, like... Work is not the best place to be wearing a skirt. There's a lot of bending down. That's a lot. Like, even if I wore a skirt, I'd have to wear pants under it anyway. I remember once explaining the concept of a slip to a coworker because he wanted to wear a dress to work, but he didn't want to show his underwear. And it's like, what? You have 3 sisters. Why am I the one explaining the concept of a slip to you? But, yeah, I used to wear slips a lot more often back when I was a good little Catholic and still went to church. As I've gotten older, like, I definitely act differently in pants than I do when I'm wearing a skirt. There we go. So let's tie this yarn together in some kind of way. Might be a tad bit too long, but we're going to leave it like a loose knot that I can easily take apart. There you go. I think nowadays most dresses build the slip into the skirt. So now you can see this is just barely bursting. I probably should be using a different set of needles, but I don't feel like it. So it means we're going to get as it decreases, this is going to get tighter and tighter. I'm going to have to pull it, and that, like, trying to work a circular needle when the yarn is, when it's too big for the yarn project that's holding that's murder. That's a nightmare. So it just wants me to attach them. Just like this. Oop. Come on, baby. You can do this. There we go. All right. And there we go. We just keep going round and round like this. And I'll be decreasing. Yeah, it looks like it's all in the round. It wants me to switch needles at some point, which it's not going to happen. Yeah, I will be back when I've made a little bit more progress on the legs here. And they're no longer like stretching to oblivion here. Like, look at this. Oh my gosh. You can see how bad it's like stretching. At least it won't be too tight for the ram. It won't be like skinny jeans. It'll be more like basketball shorts. Well, obviously the look here is for like cargo shorts, which makes me think of the Boy Scout uniform, if we're being quite honest here. Hi, it's been a while. Since I filmed the last part of this video, I want to say I filmed both the entirety of the German and the Italian segments of translating. And if you've seen other videos of my channel, you've seen there other obvious cues that shown how much time are passed, like the way that the camera is now arranged and the color of my hair. It's been a lot. Like, I kind of had to dig back out the book and kind of figure out exactly where it was that I left off. It's like I knew kind of in my mind what I needed to do. So, but I had to figure out how it translated. So it looks like I did the pants. Did I? Oh, and I did the pockets too, it looks like. Yeah. I did the pockets too. Or at least one pocket. This is such a freaking mess, y'all. Oh, second pocket. I did both pockets. Another color. So, that I only did the pants. I didn't sew any buttons. I didn't weave any ends in. So I got myself the jumper and maybe the shoes if I feel like it. I'm only going to commit myself to the jumper at this point. While the shoes are really cute, I'm not going to consider the shoes necessary. Especially since I'm doing this on a moment where I feel like I've been run over by a truck. I caught something on my last travels. It's not COVID, which I know because I've taken 3 separate COVID tests and they've all turned up negative. But it's still sending me through the ringer, yeah. So, I'm gonna work on the Pulmarin, which I'm hoping these are the needles I used. If not, I'm in trouble. Because these are the needles that have been chilling on my desk this entire time. I could just watch previous footage of me to see if these are the needles, but right. So it wants me to cast on 36 stitches with color A, which for the Fête months it's blue. And then Philbé is creme, the old lace. So if I look at our little ram guy here, the blue is on top and the creme is on the bottom, yeah? So I'm thinking this is going to have me start on the top and work my way down. So with that, I've got some of this dark blue left. I'm going to dig into the dark blue. And then when it's time to dig into the creme, I'm going to use this light blue instead. Have a nice little contrast. Kind of have a little matchy-matchy set with the pants. So yeah, I'm going to cast on the what's it called? I'm going to cast on the first row, and then after that, like the 4 rows, it's literally just in jersey end. It looks like it either wants me to do stockinette or it wants me to do garter. I can't really tell. I don't remember what I did. I can see something else that told me to work in jersey end. I think that's stockinette, yeah. I think I gotta go back to the very beginning of the book. That's where I'm gonna see it. Yeah. I just saw the instruction for the jambies, so it wants me to work in stockinette. And it looks like it's going to have a curl effect at the top of the collar. Anyway, when it starts having me do some cool stuff, I'm going to pop back in. I have the beginning of the sweater, which I'm guessing this part is going to curl down. Become a little collar for our ram here. Anyway, the next part says Monter 3M and Montage Envy for page 118, and then it says like 9 feet. I know it's starting to come back to me, some of the stuff. So V is like the pearl. I'm guessing PM is place marker. I guess that came over. So it's interesting. Ooh. As I just have a random pain in my arm for whatever reason. 118, I'm guessing that's a particular way of casting. Yeah. 118 is casting on the stitches. So I'm guessing it's doing this because it wants me to have like the little border, because I know a couple rows down it says effect boutonniere. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know how things are pronounced in French. But it means the buttonholes are coming. And so they need a little bit of overlap. Cast on the 3. So now it wants me to purl 9. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Going to assume that's a place marker. I'm guessing this is separating the sleeves from the what's it called? Must be to make 12 now. It wants me to separate the sleeves from the back. Yeah. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. Because since we're working from the top down, it means we're dealing with the sleeves right away. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then now we have the rest of the sweater. It should be 12, yeah. 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah. Okay. Which means the buttons here are actually going to be towards the side instead of in front. Nice little decorative moment. Also, I'm kind of suspecting the buttons are towards the back. Yeah, because I don't see any buttons on front. So this is actually probably going to be like the front of the sweater. So now it wants me to purl 3. So now we're starting to create that border that the buttons are going to be on. As we purl 3 on the front side. Then make 1, and then it wants me to create 1. And then make 1 towards the end. Up until the end, and then I guess it's... How are we creating it here? Man, I guess I should go back and see to the abbreviation page to see. Augmentation in Calara Gaussian Droit. So I guess I'm creating this. Oh. Knit to the end, it looks like. I'm confused. Of course, doing this while I'm not feeling well. It's probably not the best of ideas. Oh my gosh. As I could just like feel my nose taking up so much more effort than it needed to take. Anyway. So I purl 3. I do 1. I knit 1, then I made 1. And it says to the end. I feel like there's supposed to be an extra stitch that's just supposed to lie. But I don't know where that's going to be. I'm confused, y'all. I'm really confused. So it says 3V, 1E, 1 increase, then keep on knitting until you reach the marker, and then I guess I do the increase here. Then I move the marker, and then I do the 1 stitch, and then I do the increase again. And we're just gonna count at the end of all this to hope that I have the amount of stitches that I need, yeah? I also have the feeling I might not be doing the right type of increases, but hey, that's kind of the whole point of this thing, right? To do something new and exciting. Even though I have since verified that this author probably writes in English, and I probably could have just bought her book in English, but that's not fun. Then 4 do board, 1 increase, 1 stitch, and 3 purl. Which it's working. Yeah. So now the question is, do I have 47 stitches? That's our Trekian number. We got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 47. Somehow I'm where I need to be. Somehow. We're not going to look the gift horse in the mouth. We're just going to continue. And this is avec le boutonniere, so I purl up until the end. Yeah. This is how I'm going to get the little special hole, it looks like. I just purl up until the last 2 stitches, and where it tells me to do 1 J and then 1 decrease, which we have since determined that the J's are probably the yarn overs. Then after this, it looks like I'm just continuing this to get more stitches. To just keep on increasing. Somehow. But at some point we're going to have a color change. How many buttons are on this thing? I only see 3 in the picture, but I see like... It looks like... a little bit later on, it says repeat that. Use a nouveau 8. It looks like it wants me to do the increasing, but not. Like, there are rows where it wants me to do the increasing, but it doesn't want me to do the buttonhole, which makes sense. It tells, and like I'm increasing by a lot of stitches. So yeah, at this point it looks like I'm just adding more buttons. And I'm increasing where I see the stitch markers, yeah. Except for the one stitch that we're supposed to keep straight. Give it that nice little edge. So now I'm coming up to the last 2 stitches. So at this point I do my yarn over, and then I knit those 2 together. And then when I turn to this side, it's going to have me do the 3 and then just do the, it's going to have me knit this, and that'll provide me with a cute little button. Oh, well, it'll have me purl that, but that'll provide me with a cute little buttonhole. Then it looks like I'm just doing more of the same. So I'm going to come back when it has me doing something different than increasing. I was just looking at the footage for the video and realized it was starting to get a bit long, and I got quite a bit left to go. So I'm going to end up splitting this into 2 parts. I didn't realize I was going to do that. But yeah, that's the end of this part here, and I will release another part. That was today's entertainment. Have a nice day. Au revoir.